complicated matter. Many of the plants are rare and exotic. They were gifts to the museum and can no longer be obtained through any means. With careful breeding, we've kept the lines and strains going for several years. They're a cornerstone of cultural significance.
Still, to go to such lengths, an oath of secrecy no less, it seems a bit extreme.
The upcoming gala event is very important to the museum. You see, we've recently been struggling with funding. It's a sad commentary on the state of society when so few people care about the past, but it's true. Anyway, as you can see, here are the plants. They are in a terrible state.
Aren't these paintings usually on display, Mr. Douglas?
Those, yes, though we rotate them out with several others currently in storage for restoration and preservation purposes. Those are in the process of being put on display for the upcoming gala event.
Ah. I have one more question, my good fellow. What is off in that direction?
That's where we store the paintings that are not on display.
Ah, interesting.
What? Is he even looking at the plants?
Pa, 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 pa. There is always a reason for his actions.
Mr. Douglas, perhaps Dr. Watson and I could have a moment of your time to examine the plants more up close.
Of course, I suppose.
Oh, my. Have you noticed this, Dr. Watson?
Notice what?
Yes, I have. Very concerning.
Concerning why?
Oh, I suspect Bruce's yellow bacteria myself.
Bacteria!
As do I.
Oh, unfortunate.
How unfortunate!
Oh, Mr. Douglas, you'll want to take a step or two back, please.
Do you think he'll be all right, safe?
Safe? Is it dangerous?
It's best to take another few steps back, in case it was already airborne.
But the gala event is in less than a month!
Should be a good distance, old man. Well done, Dr. Watson.
Equally well done, Dr. Watson.
Now this is interesting.
That would be one way to put it.
Mrs. Godfrey Norton.
Sadly, Mr. Norton has died. I am once again Miss Irene Adler. Though, you don't look surprised to see me.
Well, as the old adage goes, fool me once, shame on you, and so on and so forth. I can assure you, there won't be a second time.
You're in an awful foul mood. Mr. Holmes, do tell me, what grand adventure are you on now? Discovering a league of red-headed gentlemen? Deciphering a code using dancing stick figures, perhaps?
Watson's stories have certainly made an impact on the general populace.
I wondered if that was just a pseudonym for you. I must say, they're quite the penny awful.
I have often told Watson his time would be better spent cataloguing the various scientific and logical precepts necessary to solve such cases. Instead, he chose to write a narrative. Truly a waste. Would you please move your foot?
There's nothing there that would interest you.
Allow me to draw my own conclusions. Tell me, are you here for actual work?
Would you believe anything I said?
No.
Ask again, Mr. Holmes. Why are you here? I did not think you'd be so dour in defeat.
Ha!
He speaks. At least a little. Well, if you won't tell me why you're here, then I shall have to guess. You're examining the woodwork of the floors. Splendid job so far.
No.
You're a lover of fine art.
Well, inasmuch as it stimulates my mind, which, by the way, is very little.
Unsurprising. Well, then it must be to see me. I never thought I'd hear you laugh.
Oh, I'm sorry. You'll have to forgive me. so far-fetched. My dear Miss Adler, I have little use for one who relies on such trite methods, such as subterfuge, chicanery, and manipulation.
And what methods, pray tell, do you rely on? Dressing up as a reverend to invade my home is so much more noble. The difference between our methods eludes me.
They couldn't be stopped!
You're right. Mine were able to trick you, while yours were hardly worth a laugh. Ha!
Shall we drop the pretense?
You first.
We both know there is more afoot than preparation for a gala.
I had my suspicions. One must always be on the lookout for one's own best interest. The stains from the drops of alcohol did catch my attention.
Oh, yes. They lead from this storage area to a large puddle in the other room. A most curious conundrum, until one considers the accompanying traces of paint.
Shall we examine the paintings?
Oh, let's.
Terrible.
Oh, far too inaccurate.
Boring.
Exquisite! How many did you count?
3.
As did I.
And did you notice the symbol?
Yes, on each one.
Satisfied?
Oh, quite. Would you care to join me?
Only if you insist.
I say, how much longer do you think we can distract Mr. Douglas?
I don't think he'll wait much longer. He looks rather agitated.
Have you smelled that strange odor?
Something faint, yes. It seems to be coming from the plant's rooms.
It smells sweet. Oh, good heavens, it can't be. Alcohol?
What on earth are you talking about?
That would explain the dried leaves.
We've done it.
Done what? Is it safe to come closer?
Mr. Douglas, tell me, are you storing libations for the gala event by any chance?
Yes, of course. We just finished restocking our bar, but what does this have to do with the plants?
I believe we have a reason to why your plants are dying.
But how? All you did was stand there and then say one single thing. I mean, not even Mr. Holmes could make something out of so little. Speaking of which, where on earth has he gotten off to? I mean, what's the point of having a consultant if he's not actually going to consult?
Oh, Charles, are you being testy again?
Ah, Miss Adler and Mr. Holmes. Do you two know one another?
No. However, Miss Adler's reputation precedes her.
As do Mr. Holmes' many cases.
I see. You seem rather forward with each other.
Ah, trifle. I hear you've solved the case, Dr. Watson. Do elucidate.
It's really rather simple. Would you say that this hallway has many workmen going throughout regularly?
Yes, it's on the way to the storage area.
And they'd no doubt be carrying supplies for the upcoming gala event.
I fail to understand.
You see, as the workmen move the libations, the contents will likely jostle. Perhaps some fell and broke, or others, due to the shaking, actually popped during travel, thus spraying their contents all throughout this hall.
Fearing repercussion for such an event, they made to erase their mistake, wiping the contents from the ground. Hence, the slight discoloration. The alcohol that made its way into the plants escaped their attention.
And after a period of a few weeks, this would dehydrate the plants and kill them.
You mean to suggest that this whole event is the result of nervous workers and libations?
It would appear so.
Bravo! Brilliantly done, Watsons. Wouldn't you agree?
Extraordinaire.
Oh, thank you, Holmes, but it's really just an application of what you've always taught. Observation.
I can't believe an entire line of flowers died because of spilled libations.
That is quite all right, because they didn't.
What?
You did a tremendous job, Watson. You said each part exactly as you were meant to. Unfortunately, it is not the truth.
Then what in fact did happen to Mr. Holmes? I'm curious to hear your summation, given that you weren't even in the room.
Charles, do calm down.
I am
approximately how many paintings does the museum own?
We house precisely 638 paintings.
I thought as much.
You would no doubt be surprised then to learn there are nearly 200 additional paintings in storage.
Additional paintings? Why on earth would there be more paintings?
They have been duplicated.
You mean forgeries?
It would appear a more subtle plan was at work.
While preparations for the gala were underway, several workmen began to silently recreate the paintings in the museum.
Once the forgeries were completed, they went about destroying the originals. This process would have taken weeks, and each night the workmen would have carefully cleaned up their work. However, it would have been impossible to smuggle all the chemicals needed in for such work.
They turned to the resources they had at hand. Alcohol. Known for its solvent properties, it would have removed any evidence of the duplicitous work.
Such activities would not go unnoticed for long, so in this direction, as plausible to be mistaken for the truth was needed, the death of plants.
They merely had to douse a few plants in alcohol in order to kill them, and thus draw any suspicion away from the paintings.
Why? Why would they destroy the originals and not simply abscond with them?
To sell a stolen painting would take a great deal of effort. Even more so if they could only make a profit once. Such a scheme would have caused chaos. Multiple forgeries, however, could be sold as authentic, and it would be impossible to prove they were not genuine if the originals were destroyed.
It was a rather ingenious way to ensure long-term profitability.
Who are the individuals responsible for this? I want to know so I can turn them over to the proper authorities at once.
That is where you will have to assist us. The individuals in question left behind their tools and attire in the storeroom. One of them is over 6 feet tall with a slight limp. The other is much shorter, barely 5 feet, with a penchant for toffee.
That's Albert and Nigel, if I had described them myself.
I suggest you find them before they have another night to further their work.
May I suggest Inspector Lestrade of Scotland Yard? He is an earnest fellow and knows my methods well.
Thank you. Oh, yes, of course, sorry. I shall see to the matter at hand immediately.
I'm sorry we couldn't have been more help, old man.
More help? My dear, you were pivotal. It would have been impossible without you. Really, I would not lie to you.
Perhaps then, in honor of our success, we could have a little celebration at Baker Street.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Something relaxing after so much excitement.
Will you join us, Miss Adler?
Oh, I don't think Mr. Holmes would want me to, given past circumstance.
Nonsense, that's in the past. We're celebrating the future.
Must we?
I think it most appropriate. Come along, Holmes. Let's hurry, or it will be impossible to find a carriage.
Oh, if we must.
Superb!
Oh, No, that just doesn't make any sense.
He seems rather anxious.
I've never seen him like this before. Normally, he's quite content with himself after solving a problem.
It's probably just best to let him be for now.
Dr. Watson, Mr. Holmes, is that you?
We're upstairs, Mrs. Hudson.
Goodness, I didn't expect you home so soon.
Mr. Holmes was able to solve the case.
If one can even call it a case.
A group of forgers was looking to destroy several priceless works of art. We were able to root them out just in time, it would appear.
Well, that certainly is a case in my estimation.
We were hoping to have a celebration. Oh, where are my manners? I failed to introduce you to
Miss Irene Adler. Mrs. Hudson, do try to be more efficient, would you?
Pleased to meet you.
Of course. Are you a friend of Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson?
I'm a rather complicated acquaintance.
Most of his associations are. I'll fetch that champagne.
Oh, splendid. Holmes, the case is over. Come, join us.
No, there is still a loose thread. One that does not fit.
What are you getting on about?
That symbol.
What symbol? It looks like nothing more than an elaborate S. It cannot be that important.
Oh, if only.
John, please, come join us in a toast.
Certainly. Do try to cheer up, Holmes.
Preoccupied.
Yes. Why was that symbol on every forged painting?
It was rather well hidden. Probably just a way for the forgers to keep track of their work.
But why choose that symbol?
It could be for a myriad of insignificant reasons.
No, we have erred. I have erred. There is something missing, something integral. Integral.
Just leave him to himself when he gets like this.
He does seem rather agitated. So tell me, Miss Adler, you are a singer?
Performer would be more accurate. I've done my fair share of work on the stage and across the globe.
So what drew you to London then?
It is a quite different city. It contains great curiosities. I find the work here to be more challenging and more rewarding.
I am so glad that you could join us then. You seem barely skilled at deduction.
A small town I've cultivated over the years. I found
Ah! That's it! An integral sign!
John, what was that?
I'm not certain. It sounded like some sort of large
Look,
explosion.
Inferno!
Yeah, Shmuley, I was supposed to be there now rehearsing.
This is far worse than I feared.
John, this is terrifying.
It's all right, Mary. We're safe here. We're safe.
Holmes. Holmes. Sherlock!
What is it?
What is the meaning behind this Oh.
If only I had known. I would not have placed you all at such a risk. What a fool I was!
A fool, but you solved the case.
You have no idea the grave danger I have placed you all in. Mrs. Hudson, do not hit that door.
Why? Who could that be at this time?
Mr. Holmes, do you know who is responsible for this?
Is it somebody after Miss Adler?
John, please don't say such awful things.
I fear he is correct. We have all, willingly, stepped into the web of a malicious spider, and I fear we will not be able to escape.
Please stay right by my side.
I wouldn't be anywhere else.
Mr. Holmes, what shall we do?
My God, Holmes, you've gone as pale as a ghost.
Sherlock, do something about him.
You all must do exactly as I say, to the letter. Even then, you will only have the smallest chapter. Always act as you will. Keep yourselves at a distance from me.
This is ridiculous.
Watson, I need you to trust me and do exactly as I say.
Do as he says, Doctor.
Holmes? Very well. Thank you.
Mrs. Hudson, please show the professor in.
Yes, Mr. Holmes.
A professor? Why would a professor be visiting?
I'm not certain, Mary, but we must put our faith in Sherlock Holmes.
Professor James Moriarty to see Mr. Holmes.
Good evening, Mr. Holmes. It is a pleasure to finally meet face to face. I believe we have a great deal to discuss.
We'll be having a 15-minute intermission and the concession stand will be open.
I know. So everything is a buck except the coffee and tea. I know. That's all the concessions for the scholarship on those kids. Well,